Hello, how's it going? My name is Jana Martin and I'm the Media Production Manager at A3, and I'm so excited to be talking with you today about updated GigE Vision standards. With me is our Vision Standards Director, Bob McCurrach. Bob, thanks so much for being here today.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about this standard. First of all, what's going on? Why are we getting a new updated standard for GigE Vision this year?
Basically, the current version of GigE Vision, which is 2.2, is capped at about 10 gigs. And it's been that way since I've been here at A3 for over 14 years. So basically, we use a UDP streaming protocol, which involves the processor. And so as it gets faster and faster, it starts to consume the CPU. The hardware gets very hot. So it's really, things have gotten better over the 14 years. Designs have improved, but we're really at the point where something needs to change. So, and that's what GigE Vision version 3 does.
And for someone who maybe doesn't know as much about vision standards, I think even a person like that, like myself, can conceptualize of how much change has happened if you just look at all technologies. Batteries have gotten better. Every part of these technologies have gotten faster and better. So the fact that it's been 14 years, you said, since the standard was updated, wow, there's a lot of ground to cover.
We've updated, but we haven't made the big change that we're about to make.
Okay, so what is the big change?
The big change is a new streaming protocol, which will be included. The existing streaming protocol will be maintained, so there's backwards compatibility. But instead of UDP, we're using RDMA. RDMA is remote direct memory access, and that basically is a hardware mechanism so that you can go directly from memory and not involve the CPU, and that enables many more things and faster things.
Excellent. So what finally pushed GigE Vision to make this leap this year?
Well, we've been working on it for a couple years, and basically the 10 gig limit is something that we've been living with for a while, and we're looking for solutions, cost-effective solutions, and the technical committee is constantly scanning the horizon for improvements, and there are a couple different options, and they decided on RoCEv2 and RDMA as a solution.
Okay, amazing. Now let's dive into both those terms you just mentioned a little bit more. What is RDMA and RoCEv2, and how do they relate to one another?
RDMA is remote direct memory access, so that you can go directly from RAM to the system without involving the processor. So that keeps the processor from getting consumed as you get faster. RoCEv2 is remote direct memory access, RDMA, over Converged Ethernet. So it's a particular flavor of RDMA, and it's one that's incorporated in many NICs, the network interface cards by the major manufacturers. So as long as you have a network interface card that's compatible with RoCEv2, you can use this new streaming protocol and achieve speeds that are much greater than 10 gigs.
What is Converged Ethernet versus InfiniBand?
So these are very technical terms, and I have the privilege of working with very smart people on our technical committees. So I'll give you my layman's interpretation. If you want a more technical explanation, I can certainly direct you to, or anybody to key people within the technical committees to get you that next level of detail. But basically, it's Converged Ethernet is more like the normal Ethernet that everybody has, whereas InfiniBand is a high-performance Ethernet that's used mostly in AI for very high-end applications. It's more expensive and is more rare, whereas Converged Ethernet is what most people already have in-house. So what using RoCEv2 allows us to do is have RDMA without having to have that high-performance Ethernet. So it's basically people already have the Ethernet that they've got, and they'll be able to get the benefits of RDMA without upgrading their Ethernet.
Excellent. So for engineers who have lived through earlier interface bottlenecks, What problem does RoCEv2 solve that the previous GigE Vision versions did not address?
Basically, it comes back to UDP streaming protocol versus an RDMA protocol. Speed. It all comes down to speed.
Everybody always wants to go faster, right? So this is a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so zero copy image transfer sounds powerful, but abstract. Can you explain what that means in practical terms for real-world machine vision systems?
Again, I would come back to speed. It all
Yeah.
comes down to speed.
Yeah, better, faster, and stronger. Okay, super, we're just kicking through it. How significant is the reduction of CPU load with GigE Vision 3.0, and what does that free up engineers to do differently in their system design?
Well, it certainly gives them more speed, and that will allow them to use vision applications in new ways that they can probably conceive of now, but probably in many ways that they'll figure out to do in the future when they have this new tool. It's basically speed.
I have a feeling there's a common thread in this interview. Can you talk a little bit more about the significance of the reduction of the CPU load?
Right, so if you're using most of your CPU just to transfer the data, you don't have that CPU power to do some actual vision processing. So it frees up the processor to do what you want it to do versus just to transport the data.
Okay, GigE Vision has always emphasized interoperability. How did the committee ensure that introducing RoCEv2 did not break compatibility with existing deployments?
Well, very importantly, let's go back through the history of GigE Vision, starting with 1.x. Had a 32-bit data structure, and that was somewhat limiting, and that caused us to go to 2.x with a 64-bit data structure. That allowed transportation of much more complex data structures. And like I mentioned earlier, we were capped at that 10 gig limit. So the natural evolution was looking for solutions that would break the 10 gig barrier and allow the CPU to become unburdened. So the search was on. The committee is always searching for improvements and enhancements. There were a couple of different options considered. But RoCEv2 seemed to be the right balance of speed and performance and cost. So with that, all the benefits of RDMA come on your existing Ethernet equipment. But the key is to have an Ethernet card that has RoCEv2 on it, which most of the mainstream Ethernet cards have that. Amazing.
Now, you have been careful to frame GigE Vision 3.0 as a supplement and not a replacement. Why is that an important distinction?
Speed is great, but speed isn't everything. I would argue that there's many, many applications out there, users who need vision, who don't need the great amounts of speed. Of course, as engineers, we're always trying to push the envelope, and it does open new applications with more speed. But very important to remain backwards compatible. GigE Vision 3 will be backwards compatible. It will still have the normal GigE Vision streaming protocol, but it will have this new streaming protocol with RDMA.
Cool. From your perspective here at A3, how has Ethernet hardware evolution, especially modern network interface cards, changed what is possible for machine vision standards today?
A lot of it comes down to performance, as I've said, but also cost. The strength of GigE Vision, which is why it's been around for so long, GigE Vision is actually turning 20 years old in 2026. It originally came out in 2006, so we'll be celebrating that this year. Cool. At the major vision shows. But the real key is that it relies on existing high-volume Ethernet ecosystem. That means low costs and lots of improvements in the whole ecosystem. GigE Vision sits on top of it, so it takes advantage of that. RDMA would be one of those improvements, and when it came along, we've been able to suck it in and use it for the benefit of the vision industry and GigE Vision.
Looking back at this evolution of GigE Vision, which I thank you for kind of walking us through that, What decision or design principle do you think has mattered most to its longevity as a standard?
Just with my previous answer, that it relies on industry standard equipment. So we don't have to develop all the complex IEEE background for Ethernet. As it advances, GigE Vision advances.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. Compatibility. For companies currently using earlier GigE Vision versions, what is the clearest signal that it is time to start evaluating new capabilities?
Well, as I've said, there are many applications that the current 2.x standard is entirely sufficient for. But as users approach them and say, well, I'm just trying to do something that I just can't do, and a little extra speed would get us that ability, that's exactly what GigE Vision 3 will do.
And finally, why is the participation in standards committees like GigE Vision more important now than ever for the future of automation?
The companies that get involved and participate in detail in the technical committees have a voice in the standard. So if you're there, you can be part of it. The other benefit is that you're getting unrivaled technical networking. In my prior jobs, you work for a company and your resources are the resources in the company, and that's what you know. When you're working on this technical committee, which has been around for 20 years, you have very sophisticated relationships and you're getting technical networking that is unrivaled. So the minute you walk into the technical committee, it's like going into the best technical library that you could ever want. It's also a very collegial group that has developed relationships. And it's competitors working together, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
But they've been doing it for so long. They're able to, 80% of the technical content is the same for all the companies. So if you have many hands to do that work, it reduces the workload for you, which is a benefit. And then the remaining 20%, people keep in their special sauce. They keep in their own pocket, and so they can, really take advantage of and learn from the community. So that's really the strength. So a voice in it plus technical networking.
And just from my experience here at A3 and getting to interview you and your colleagues on these committees at Automate Live, it's a very global community too. Like, and you were saying all different kinds of companies are involved and countries are involved. So it truly is, it's a global effort to make sure that these standards are standardized and so that people can kind of work across the world in creating these technologies.
Yeah, just a little more detail on that. We partner with other global vision associations with various countries. We've got EMVA in Europe, VDMA in Germany, GIA in Japan, and CMVU in China. We meet at least twice a year. We call our cooperation agreement the G3 because we started with 3 and now we're 5. In the future, hopefully we'll be 7, 10, 15 and have much more participation. The beauty of this cooperation is that you can be a member of one association and based on that membership, you're able to participate in another association's technical committee. So it really opens up the door for global participation, which is really the benefit for the industry. Machine vision, vision broadly is, I would argue, an underutilized technology. Probably more of a best kept secret because those who are out there who don't know what they don't know. So by working together, we vastly improve our ability to communicate to the world the things that they're missing.
Beautifully said, and just to cap this off, backing way out, we've been talking very technically about like these standards and the development of how they come to be, but when you think about computer vision, like you're saying machine vision, everyone's seen a Waymo, everyone's seen a self-driving car, they've seen humanoids, but maybe they don't even realize like that's how a big way that those machines are moving through the world is through computer vision. So if that excites you, get in touch with Bob. You can find his contact info on the A3 website and find out how to get more involved in vision standards and go from there.
Can I just a little more on the global aspect?
Yeah, let's do that. Go ahead.
So Our standards meetings, we through the G3, we cooperate so that we rotate on a 6-month scale in the spring and fall. We go from Asia, Europe to North America every 6 months. So one benefit of being on the technical committees, if you're getting big benefit out of it, is that you get to see the world and meet people from different cultures and get the benefit of that, which is very fulfilling.
Very cool, very fun, and also though anybody who's traveled internationally knows of the example that our friend over in robotics standards, Carol, always talks about, the plugs not working when you go into a new country because of the lack of standardization. And so I think just backing out again, that points to the importance of this global community and the importance that you travel around the world to make sure that there's not those like very nuanced little country differences that come into play that kind of make it difficult for everyone to work together. So standardizing all of this and working together as such a collegial team is really the value in this work.
Certainly, and GigE Vision is one of 4 interoperability standards. The real power is any camera that meets the standard will work with any software that meets the standard. So interoperability is a key principle that makes the technology cheaper, easier to use, and more globally applicable.
Awesome. Well, good luck to everybody out there using machine vision to make all their machines move through the world. And thank you, Bob and team, for developing these standards.
Great, thank you.